Hi, my name is Billy Flowers and welcome to my channel where I talk about velocity banking and how we can use this strategy to massively pay off debt. And before we get started, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. So in today's video, I have a pretty good one that I hope will find some value to a lot of you out there. We have a scenario here where we have quite a large debt and it's split between three credit cards because I know that a lot of you out there got multiple credit cards and you're making payments to all these different credit cards and you're struggling to get by. So I'm going to show you how you can get out of debt, but you have to take it one step at a time. So let's get started. So we have our four key numbers. We have our income at $5,000. We have our expenses at $4,500, and we have a debt of $30,000. And we have a cash flow, that most important number on this entire board, of $500. Now, as you can see here, we have three credit cards. The first credit card is for $13,730. It has a 425 and 63 cent dollar monthly payment at a 27% interest rate. Then we have credit card number two of $10,560 with a $327.36 monthly payment at a 25% interest rate. And then the final credit card, this one's a little cheaper. Still a pretty big dent at $5,710. And it has a $177.01 monthly payment, and it has a 23% interest rate. Now we do have our bills that we have to keep in cash down here. So we have our mortgage payment of $1,100 per month. We have a car with a $450 monthly payment. The car insurance is $175 per month. And the rest of the bills that we can pay with the credit card is $1,845. Now, since we don't have a line of credit as our debt tool, we're going to be using one of these cards as our debt tool. And when we do that, we have to separate what we're going to keep in cash in the bank and what we're going to keep and and what we're going to put on the actual credit card. So if we just did that, we would have to keep $2,655 in the bank to pay our cash bills, and $2,345 is going to go on the credit card. So you're looking at all these credit cards here, credit card number 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to be thinking, well, I know I like this velocity banking. I like how it sounds, but which credit card am I going to tackle first? And you just have to sit here and you have to look. And since we're only starting off with $500 of cash flow, I didn't want to go and tackle one of these big cards yet. I wanted to go with the smaller one first, because we're going to capture 177 right quick. So we're going to start with the smaller credit card first. And what that's going to do is now it's going to lower what we have to keep in the bank in cash, $177. So now we only have to keep $2,477.99 in the bank for our cash payment. And we're going to end up putting $2,522.01 on the credit card. That's going to be the monthly payment of the credit card. And you might be asking yourself, well, why did you add 177 that monthly payment? Well, that's a good question. If I'm putting, or if you're putting $2,522.01 on the credit card, and your monthly payment is only $177.01, wouldn't that payment be satisfied? Or would you have to pay that monthly payment on top of what you putting in? No, 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 no. That's not how credit cards work. As long as you put in this $177.01 on the card, as long as you're paying that, that monthly payment is satisfied. So if I'm putting all of this money in the card, this monthly payment is gone. It's erased. You just got rid of your monthly payment just like that. Your monthly payment is gone. And what happens is this monthly payment is going to do what? What is that? This monthly payment going to be added to the most important number on this board. What is it? We're going to get some more cash flow, right? So this cash flow, I'm going to write it over here. So our cash flow, write it over here. Cash flow is going from $500 plus 177.01. So now our new cash flow, that quick, now our cash flow is going to be $677.01 that we're going to be working with to pay this credit card off. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. So we have our credit card here of $5,010. And then we have our income that we're going to put in the card. What's our income? Well, it's this $2,522.01 that's going to go into the card, driving that balance all the way down to $3,187.99. And then we're going to have our expenses come out of, the rest of the bills that we're paying for with our credit card. So besides these bills right here, these cash bills, you're going to have your gas, you're going to have your electric, you're going to be going out to eat, you're going to have to put gas in your car, everything else that you can pay with a credit card. So you put $2,522 in, and you took the same money back out, 1,845 of it to pay your expenses. So you put money in, took the same money back out to pay your expenses, but this difference stays in the line. That's what's going to pay it down. So then once you take your expenses out, that's going to raise the balance back up to $5,032.99. Now, of course, this is a credit card, so you know that we're going to get charged interest, and that's what this is. This $109.44 is the interest cost. And you know what I like to do? I like to take it off the high balance of the month, but it's never going to be that high, because when you start this off, it's really a good idea when you start this off to start it off right when you get paid. So right when you get paid, it could be if you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, or even throughout the month. So as soon as you get paid, boom, you're putting it on the card. That means this balance is going to be lower. That means the interest charge on that day is going to be lower. So you're never going to be at this high balance for the month on any of these months, because your income's going in. And your bills, this 1,845 is not going to be coming out all at once. It's going to be coming out at different times of the month. You might even go a week without having any bills come out, or 3-4 days. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different, but all these expenses are not going to come out all at once. That means that more money is going to be sitting in this credit card, meaning that you're going to get charged less interest. That's how this game works. So $109.44 is going to be the interest. And notice that we gained $177.01 in cash flow, but now 109 of that is going to be eaten up by this interest cost. So we don't actually have the full $677, but we're going to get there it's going to get closer and closer to that as we pay this off, but it's still higher than the original $500 that you started with. That's the whole point of this. We're Now this monthly payment, instead of working against us, now it's working for us because we're still in the black, right? Because this is only $109 and we gained $177. So we already in the black. And remember, this is the higher interest rate. So once the interest comes out, we're going to have $5,142.43 is going to be the balance at the end of month one. Then month two, what are we going to do? We're going to repeat the same process. Rinse and repeat. That's all this is. Rinse and repeat. We're going to have our income going in. Our expenses coming out. Now look at that. Already. $98.66 is the interest. We're already under $100. And remember, this is off of the high balance at the beginning of the month. It's going to be less than this. $4,564.08 is going to be the balance at the end of month two. So right here, I'm human, and I made a little mistake because I'm thinking that I'm working with a line of credit here, but I'm actually working with a credit card. So my thought process was I was going to be putting the whole $5,000 in here, and that's normally when I do my flip time, right? So I actually flip the numbers here when I usually don't do that until this balance is under what we're actually putting in. I usually do it once the balance gets under the $2,522 that we put in the card, but it's okay. The math still works out fine because all we're going to do is I'm just going to flip the numbers right now on month two rather than me going through all this again and trying to work all these numbers out because this takes some time, but it's still going to work out the same because all this is just math. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have the expenses come out first, and then I'm going to have our income go in second, just so you can see the line going down to zero, right? And we're not having to have a difference, or I'm putting in the exact amount or anything like that, so we'll have less math on the board. So I'm going to have the expenses come out first of $1,845. It's going to raise that balance up to $6,409.08. And then we're going to have our income going in of $25.22 and 1 cent. And that's going to lower the balance down to $3,887.07. We're going to get charged $87.48 in interest, raising that balance back up just a little bit to $3,974.55 at the end of month three. Then month four, we're going to repeat the same process. Expenses come out $5,819.55. Then our income's going in $2,522.01, lowering that balance down to $3,297.54. $76.18 is the interest. $3,373.72 is the balance at the end of month four. Month five, we have our expenses coming out, our income going in. Look at that balance right there. $2,696.71. $64.67 is the interest. $2,761.38 is the balance at the end of month five. Month six, we have our expenses coming out of $1,845, our income going in of $2,522.01, lowering that balance down to $2,084.37. $52.93 is the interest. $2,137.30 would be the balance at the end of month six. Month seven, expenses out, income in. $1,460.29 is a balance. $41.07 is the interest, raising that balance up to $1,501.36 at the end of month seven. Month eight, we have our expenses coming out, our income going in. Look at that balance right there. $224.35. All right, now you should be just like, whew. You already know it's coming close, especially if you write this on a piece of paper. I know. Try not to start salivating at the mouth. You might be drooling a little bit. Try not to get no drool on your paper. We're gonna have $28.78 in interest charge, raising that balance up to $853.13 at the end of month 8. Month 9, we're going to add our expenses in, right? Raising that balance up to $2,698.13. Our income going in. Look at that balance now, $176.12. Woo, yeah. Oh, you're gonna start feeling good now. Look at that right there. $16.35. Look at that balance. $192.47 at the end of month 9. We got our expenses coming out. Look at that balance right there. $2,037.47. That's already lower than what we've been putting in. Putting that exact amount into 10 months. Done. This credit card number 3 right here, is free and clear. We're done with this card. 10 months. We're done. And look at it. That's how much you're going to have left. $484.54. Now, what you going to do with that? Like I said in one of my other videos, you have to celebrate your wins. So, see this $484 right here? Yeah, we're gonna use a little bit of this and have some fun. And so, have a little bit of fun. So, go out to eat. You know, take your spouse out, your girlfriend, whatever, or your family, your kids. Go out and celebrate this win. Celebrate this win because you just paid off one of your credit cards that you thought that you was never gonna pay off in 10 months. Mm-hmm. And you have a little bit of money left in your bank account after you do it. I call that a win-win, don't you? Mm-hmm. $484. Now, since we got charged interest on this entire time, right? I added up all the interest that we had, and it added up to $475.56. And you know what I like to do? I like to see if we actually paid this 23% that the card says that we're going to be paying. Well, you're going to be paying that if you just pay the minimum monthly payment, but us velocity bankers, we ahead of this interest game, so we don't like paying that high interest rate. So when we're doing this is the number that we're trying to beat. We're not trying to pay that 23%. So all you're going to do is you're going to open up Google on your phone or on a PC, whatever. Type in $575.56 is what percent of how much was our credit card? $5,710. Boom. What we gonna get? What we gonna get? Let me get my notes here. This is what we gonna get. Right here. Just notice I put cash. Couldn't even read my own writing. I had cash flow up here. I didn't even have to do it right here. Man, pay attention. Woo-wee. But anyways, back to this right here. This is what really counts. 10.08%. That's what you actually paid in interest. And this is like I said, this is on the high side, but we're just gonna stick with this because even with that, don't this number look better? This 10% look better than this 23%? We cut this more than half. Just by doing this strategy, just by doing velocity banking, we cut our interest costs by more than half. And you know me, I didn't even factor in any kind of credit card rewards. We're not even worried about that. This is what we worried about right here. This interest costs. That's what you actually pay in interest, right? Instead of this 23%. I'll take that any day of the week. You got to start playing this interest game. You have to start thinking a little bit different. This is what you actually pay. So this is how you pay off credit card number 3, 10 months. We're done. So now what we going to do? We're going to tackle these other 2 credit cards because, we got a $10,000 one and a $13,000 one that's just taking our cash flow every single month. And no, we ain't having that. But you're gonna have to stay tuned for the next video to see how we're gonna tackle the other 2. But as you can see by this, it ain't gonna take too long because velocity, it's in the name, it's velocity banking. So that means we we're working in velocity. The time is velocitized, even if that's a word. We working on we working pretty quick. You see how this works. But anyways, I just want to thank you for watching, and I hope you found value in today's video. All I'm doing is showing you that there is a way to pay off debt. You just have to have a little faith. You just have to take that first step. Take that first step, because that first step is usually the hardest one. And try something new. Because if you've been doing the same thing all this time and getting the same result, you got to try something new. So take this step with me. Take this step with thousands of other people out there. Let's get this velocity banking strategy going mainstream. I know there's a lot of other content creators out there. This is a movement. I have the utmost respect for everybody out there that's teaching this concept, because we need to get this into people's brains that you don't have to be stuck with all this debt. There is a way out. Get that weight lifted off your shoulders and get that stress. Get all that stress that you have. Let's get rid of all that. And we can do this together on this journey. That's all I'm saying. So join me in this journey, and let's do this together. So, like I said, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And like I always say, get that cash flow.